So I went on Shudder today and just saw the first movie that was on there and decided, well, I'll just watch it, whatever it is, because I really want to see a lot more Shudder movies, especially. And Shudder just puts out a shit ton of horror movies like all the time. There's a million of them. So I decided to just pick the first one, and the film that I watched was called Before the Fire, and I literally had to look at my TV screen to remember that name. Before the Fire is a movie that is cribbing on the fact that we had a pandemic, or we're having a pandemic, and a young girl goes back to this childhood home, and then the story that they say, like in the synopsis, is that she goes home, and then the people there are worse than the pandemic or the virus. So it's a movie like that. It reminded me of Bear, which I watched maybe a couple weeks ago or a month ago. That really, I thought it was a terrible movie on that I saw on Prime as well, about these people who are trapped in a car with a bear around. And the plot in that was, well, who was worse, the people or the bear? And it does the same kind of thing, but it's pretty bad. Honestly, like, it's not as bad as Bear. Like, Bear I liked a lot less than this. Like, I couldn't stand Bear. This one, Before the Fire, starting out with it, I did enjoy the setup to it, and it's so weird because I don't like getting money spent on the idea of this pandemic going around, because usually it's a lot of spoiled people who are like, who don't have jobs, or people who are like, oh, this pandemic, I'm just gonna stay at home the whole 7-9 months. Not me though. I work in retail, so I work in a location where I can't stay at home, and I've worked through this shit the whole time. And honestly, watching the world crumble under this pandemic it's honestly kind of sad, because you see, like, there's a lot of media and misinformation that spreads shit around, and then it kind of ruins everybody, and it's gonna kill everybody more than the virus. I'm gonna say that right now. But enough of the real world and bullshit in that world. This is one of those movies where it is just these people who are like, oh, I can just go away and get rid of this situation. I can go hide at this childhood home while this virus happens. So she does, and then she meets people from her past, and then it starts to become a thriller with, like, people around town that are trying to, I guess, get her. I honestly, watching this movie, it didn't really make much logical sense to me. I think I just wasn't paying enough attention, because, like I said, the setup was fine. Like, I did enjoy the setup. Like, it was okay. It wasn't too bad. I liked the main character all right. And then it just got dumber and dumber. Like, it was just really annoying because of the fact I couldn't understand what happened. Am I dumb, or is the movie dumb? And I feel like it's probably the movie. But sometimes I'm dumb with movies. Sometimes there's movies that I watch and I'm like, I didn't understand that. And then it's like the most obvious thing ever. But in this movie, I feel like I didn't understand this, and a lot of people aren't going to either. I may be wrong, but this just didn't make much sense. It was just a really weird thriller with, like, the pandemic as a backdrop, to cash in on the fact that we have this real pandemic and it's ruining lives. So he made a movie about it. But to be fair, I'm going to be hypocritical. And that movie Host, which I reviewed and watched like a week ago, fantastic, one of my favorites. And that movie had the pandemic related to it as well. Like, it was connected to that as well. But it was, again, the backdrop of it. But it was a way better crafted movie than this. And like I said, the setup's fine, but the rest of the movie just got insanely stupid. It just didn't make logical sense as it went along. I didn't get why these people were doing these things. I didn't get why these characters were doing things. I just repeated myself, basically saying two different things that are the same thing. But regardless, I just didn't understand the movie. I didn't understand why it was so dumb. Like, it was just so... It could have been a better movie. It could have been executed better. And then I saw on IMDb it has like a 3.9 out of 10, which at first I was like, it doesn't deserve that. Like, I liked the opening fine, and I thought the main character was okay, but the more I think about it, it's pretty bad. On Letterboxd, I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. Oh, wait, I did give it 2 out of 5 stars. I just rated it, but yeah, this is one I don't really recommend. I thought this one was pretty bad. Not as bad as Bear in terms of, like, recent, like, movies like this that I've watched, but this one was pretty bad as well. I thought it was still bad, but had some okay moments to it, but it just was not executed well at all. Really, like I said, the setup's fine, but besides that, it's really just a nothing little movie. And a lot of reviews were saying like this is really boring, and yeah, I could see that it is pretty boring. But honestly, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna forget about this movie like immediately because I'm excited because Scream Factory announced King Kong 1976 is gonna be released on Blu-ray, so I just pre-ordered it. So I was more preoccupied with that, and that was more in my mind than this movie because I really want to rewatch King Kong 76, and it's the first time it's on Blu-ray, so I'm excited. And also they announced He Knows You're Alone, which I don't really remember liking, but I do want to get it and rewatch it as well. And Scream Factory, I just want to own their slashers because I really enjoy their slasher selection. Whether I like the movie or not, I think it's cool to own them. But I'm excited to get those ones. So that was more on my mind than this crappy little pandemic movie. Like, it was just really lame and just really stupid. So, yeah, kind of going off on a random-ish thing because I talked about other movies, but I don't care. This movie was so bad, I don't really care. So that is Before the Fire. Don't watch it, I guess. That's how I feel about it. Maybe people like it, but I didn't really enjoy it personally. So that's it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.